Hello, and welcome everybody. Welcome. Today we are gonna do a reading on do you truly know yourself? Discover your true self or discover who you are through tarot. Okay, so I'm super excited. Let's get started. All right, thank you all so much for all of your comments, all of your love. I really appreciate it. Let's see what we have here. Of course, we're gonna, see just how well you know yourself, and then I'm gonna reveal some things about you. We're gonna talk about who you are. What are some things you need to work on, and etc. Your shadow self, your subconscious, all of that stuff. Things that you need to know. So if you are on this healing journey, this is the place for you. I hope you guys can hear me well. I hope my audio is working properly. Okay, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everybody. I'm just gonna wait for people to join. Just a little bit more, and yeah, we could get started. All right, so right now we're going to go into the kind of person you are. Who are you right now? Um, at this moment, how people see you. Okay. I am European. Okay. Let's see. Let's go. All right, so who you are right now and the way that people see you is someone who has put in a lot of work to be where you are right now. All right, so you had to work really hard to be where you are in life or to become the person that you are right now. It wasn't easy, right? And people realize that about you and people see that because once in a while you still go back to your old ways, where you're being a little bit toxic or you're being a little bit more aggressive or you're being reactive, right? Or you're lowering your standards. You're allowing people to mistreat you. All right, so people see sometimes you have weaknesses, but they also see that you worked really hard to make sure that you're becoming a better version of yourself, right? That you're still a work in progress is how people see you. Um, they know you still have a long way to go. And we all do, so don't take this as an attack or an insult. Um, it's it's they definitely see you a work in progress, right? They also see you more of a loner, and I think that's something that you're also not admitting to yourself, that you like to have your alone time, and you like to have that self-reflection time, and you might look at it as an isolation, but it's not. We all need that alone time. Sometimes we need to self-reflect, think deeply about the stuff that's happening in our life. All right, so people are definitely see you as a loner. You do sometimes isolate yourself too much, right? You don't want to overdo it. You want to be right in the middle. You want to be still uh, exploring friendships, hobbies, and etc., but still have your alone time. And you got to realize most of us are, have to spend a lot of alone time with ourselves. So make sure that that's why it's important to get to know yourself and, discover who you truly are and discover what you truly like so you can enjoy your alone time. Because if you don't like the person you are, like, think about it. If you don't like spending time with yourself because you're disliking who you are, that's a problem. That's why we're going to go more in depth about, who you are and what are some things you need to work on and, everything else. They also see you as, someone who is super positive about life, optimistic, has a great sense of, like, you have a great sense of humor, um, and you're able to kind of read between the lines. You're really good at noticing details. You're good at noticing any small shifts that happen in life, at work. You're just picking up on these subtle cues. And this really is, it could be a great thing, but it can also mean that you are hyper aware. You are more in a survival mode, right? Because if you ever had to, um, feel like you needed to be aware of your surroundings to the point where, um, to survive, you're still sometimes going to the mode of survival. And this is detrimental to your mental health. And this is really bad, for your physical health, because your body is always in overdrive, right? So it's really important that you, pay attention to that. Um, there's also like a lot of anxiety and, around you, which is the hyperactive point that I made. Another thing, there's a lot of wishful thinking that you may have. Um, so what happens is you had a goal or you had an idea of what your life will look like, right? When you were growing up, when you had dreams, and also like people around you, your parents or your friends or someone on TV or like media had instilled this, idea, a version of yourself that you wanted to be. And this is a general reading, correct? And, but it's not corresponding to what's happening in your life right now, right? So there's a dissonance. And what happens in your mind, you have like cognitive dissonance. And you then turn on yourself and you criticize yourself for not being able to meet this version of yourself that you think that you need to be, that you think that people expect you to be, that you think you need to be able to be happy. Okay? So happiness, it's it's temporarily, right? It's not something that um, can be part of your life forever. You know, it comes and goes, right? Um, so you need to allow yourself to be sad, to be unhappy, to be angry. You're allowed to show your bad feelings, bad emotions, because that's human, right? And there's also a bit of that bittersweet feeling when it comes to be able to, um, whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling angry, to be able to show that true version of yourself because you were never allowed to do that. And because you don't allow yourself to show your true self when you're angry and when you're upset or anything that's qualified as a bad feeling, you keep it inside of you and then it eats you up on the inside. And once again, this is bad for you. This is bad for your mental health. This is bad for your physical health. Okay? Another thing is that sometimes you ignore, like, you ignore bad people in your life or bad things happening to you. So what I mean by that, like mistreatment. If you have people mistreating you, um, if you have friends who are poking fun at you, this is a favorite thing for abusers to do, and for people who are not right in their mind, is to make it as a joke. Okay, to play it off as a joke. You have some people around you who are literally bullying you. A lot of people don't realize bullying can be a joke, but it's time to get serious. Okay, it's time to not allow people cross any boundaries. Most of us got bullied by our own parents, okay? And we accepted it because we needed them, we depended on them when we were younger, right? We couldn't survive without them. And then as we grow and become adults, we still allow the same bullying behavior from other people because we don't recognize it as bullying. So it's important to make sure that you recognize it and you don't allow it. Um, for some of you, it's definitely like you can't be afraid to use your voice and to tell people to stop and to tell people to F off, literally. And it's okay to be mean sometimes. Okay? It's some people deserve that mean version of you. Some people deserve to be insulted back. Okay? Yeah, because you know, this is your life and you only get to have one life. And you may think that these little mistreatments that you get from people who pretend to care about you doesn't affect you. You just like brush it off. It does affect you. It does affect you. Okay? I apologize, guys. I'm just, I'm really passionate about this and just want to make sure that, you hear the message and just realize how serious it is. Okay. So, another thing is that you may not realize just how little you need in this life, you know? Um, like for example, sometimes you overcompensate with, buying new things or going for the next big thing or trying to get an approval from people. Sometimes, simple things is all we need. And it really, really makes a big difference in your life because when you're chasing the next big thing and you scratch that itch and you put yourself in debt, um, or you feel like because you don't have something expensive in your life, you don't have that big house, you don't have that new car, you don't have like the best relationship, you don't have that boyfriend or girlfriend or wife. Most of the population right now, the happiest is someone who have simple things in life and they are alone, okay? And they don't necessarily need to be in a relationship. So don't feel like you're incomplete because you may not have, that relationship or you may not have those materialistic things. Okay? All right. So that's really important because it gives us that euphoric feel, that high when we buy new things and really expensive. But then after a while, you notice I'm like, I'm still not, something is not right. I'm still not happy or satisfied. It's a temporarily relief. So you may think that, buying that new car will fix it for you, but it's not a fix, okay? It's like a high. It's being addicted to that. It's really addiction. Um, so let's get into what you really need to be able to feel satisfied and to have that fulfilling, a feeling of fulfillment. Okay? Yes, feeling like nothing is enough. Exactly. Feeling like nothing is enough. So this is going to go back to, your childhood. Everything starts in your childhood. Um, you were being taught how to love, and most likely, you were taught the wrong type of love. And what you think is love is not love at all. And unfortunately, we cannot go back and have our parents redo it the right way. They did their best thing. And I know a lot of us have resentment against our parents or people in our life who really hurt us when we were young. When we needed them, we depended on them and they let us down. So there's a feeling of grief, okay? There's a feeling of grief. And grief, it's long lasting. And when you go through a process of grief, obviously it has stages and it comes and goes. And you may not even recognize it because you just take it as a sadness or you take it as a um, not a big deal. This is a familiar feeling that you have had most of your life. And it's hard to not welcome it, but I want you to welcome it because you want to be able to study how you feel when you're grieving so you get more comfortable with the thoughts that you have when you're grieving. You have to welcome it and don't judge yourself. um, just accepting the fact that you feel the loss of a normal childhood, or you feel the loss of, having parents that really cared for you and protected you. You feel the loss of not being loved properly. Okay? So there's like that void that most of us have inside of us. And we try to gain it from outside to be able to fill it up, to fill our empty cup, but we're not able to. The only way that you need to nourish yourself, as I know many of you know, but it's so hard to do, is from talking to yourself kindly and compassionately. That's number one. Really pay attention to how you speak to yourself, your inner thoughts. And it's hard to catch yourself because you may think that you're pushing yourself to be better, and you're giving yourself that pep talk like, oh, a lot of us call ourselves so many hurtful things, and 100% it's someone else's voice that you have heard in the past, someone who was jealous of you. Okay? A lot of parents are jealous of their children. A lot of mothers are jealous of their daughters. A lot of fathers hate their daughters. A lot of fathers are jealous of their sons. And if you were, being told all of these horrible things about you, you internalize it, right? Because when a kid hears something badly said to them, they don't think the parent is bad, they think they're bad. Okay? It's true. Parents can be jealous of their kids because if you are not emotionally educated, if you're not emotionally intelligent, if you don't have the healthy coping skills, just because you had a child does not make you a parent or a good parent, a nurturing parent. You act out in unhealthy ways, and it all gets passed down. Okay? So, going back to my point, how to make sure you feel the void inside of you. Talking kindly to yourself. Words really do matter. Everything that you say with your mouth or think matters. And I'm not saying that you have to judge yourself. Even you have to understand it's going to take time to rewire your patterns. It's going to take time to rewire how you think, how you feel, your behaviors, your thinking patterns. It's not going to happen overnight. So even though sometimes you have, you're being self-critical of yourself and you call yourself stupid, like say for example, you're like, you make a mistake and you say, I'm so stupid. But it's okay. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Yes, you are allowed to make mistakes, but are you stupid because you made a mistake? You're not. Okay? So you need to make sure you really pay attention to how you speak to yourself. And you say, I made a mistake, and that's okay. That's it. There's no need to label yourself as being stupid. Okay? Let's see. Let's go deeper into what else you need to kind of work on. All right. I'm seeing, you know, and the beautiful thing about this journey is that you don't need to know everything right now. And even if you don't hear the answers in this reading right now, doesn't mean that they may not come to you later. And a lot of times, when you're like listening to something and you think you're hearing it, but you're not really hearing it. And that's totally fine. But it's okay to like, it's good that you're exposing yourself to this and just, letting it process. Um, Another thing that's coming up is for you in your life is self-doubt. You doubt yourself. You doubt your decisions. You doubt your intuition. You always have to ask for a second opinion. And it's sometimes it's okay like to get like a second and a third opinion from other people, but you have to be your own trusted guide. And there's different practices to, get back into your own intuition. And a lot of us don't even know what our own intuition feels like. That's why I'm telling you, allow to, feel these feelings that you're feeling and stay with them. You have to get to know your feelings. You have to get to know your body, how your body feels when it feels grief, when it feels anger, when it feels sadness, when it feels happiness, when it feels self doubt, and etc. Because the more you stay with these feelings and you get familiar with them, you'll be able to label it. And you're like, okay, I'm feeling blah, blah, blah. What works for me? And you'll be able to take the necessary steps to take care of yourself. Okay? Because now, as an adult, it's your time to take care of yourself. No one is coming to take care of you anymore, right? Also, there's a lot of like self doubt, um, a lot of betrayal. If you had made a promise to yourself, like say for example, if you're trying to quit, something that's bad for your health, it could be smoking, it could be alcohol, and etc. Um, if you have like like an addiction and you're trying to quit, um, and you tell yourself you're not gonna go back to it. I mean, first of all, that's a complicated thing to begin with, and I'm just using this as an example. Um, but every time you go back to it, it's self betrayal. Okay, it's you keep betraying yourself. You don't honor yourself, and it's important to honor yourself. And I'm not saying that just because you had a relapse or and etc. That it's all it's over. It's game over. But what I'm saying is it's important to know the effect that it will have on you. That you know it's about betrayal, and you betraying yourself. And we betray ourselves all the time, a lot of times, in small or big ways. And the reason why we keep betraying ourselves is not because we hate ourselves. No. It's because other people have done this to us when we were learning about life and we were learning the game of life and we were figuring out how to live this life. And we have learned that it's okay to betray us. It's okay to betray ourselves. Nothing bad will happen. You can survive. You can survive a betrayal, but it's painful. And and then we wonder why, good things are not happening for us, why we're not able to get into that healthy relationship, why we're, not able to just be in touch with our bodies, because then your body doesn't trust you. Your body cannot relax, right? And you can be yourself. Really, really important to always put yourself first and to gain that trust back with yourself, because you don't even trust yourself. That's why you have that self doubt. You don't trust your decisions. Sometimes our bodies, they're not even revealing themselves to us because they don't know if we can be trusted. So the, the the disconnection between your mind and your body is really where a lot of things happen. A lot of uh, problems begin, I should say. That disconnection between your mind and your body. Your body is number one source um, for all of the information that you need about how you feel, about what you need to do. Um, you know, like, say, for example, if you are around someone and you wonder if this person likes you, or you wonder how you feel about them, what are you going to do? The first thing you do is check in with your body. A lot of people think with their minds. They're like observing the other person's behavior and they're like analyzing the other person's behavior, but they forget to check in with their body. And if you check in with your body, your heartbeat is going up, your throat is closing up, and you think of it as butterflies, but it's really not. It's your body's trying to let you know that, this person is a dangerous person. This person is not safe. Okay. So definitely pay attention more to your body than anything, because our minds can think a lot of things. What is my advice to you? Okay. My advice to you is that you don't have to do this alone. There's many resources um, that you can look into to be able to, take the time to rediscover yourself. Um, and to truly know yourself, obviously, number one, it's healing your old wounds, your old childhood wounds, your wounds of abandonment, because when you least expect it, it sneaks up on you, okay? And then it ruins your life, and it creates problems for you. And the last thing I want is I want you to have any problems. So definitely, like, finding that support system, either, thank you. Either, watching the videos, my videos, if it's, if you find it supportive, please do. Or if you have like a support friend that can just be there for you consistently, right? That's also really helpful. Creating that community, making sure that you follow your passions and you follow your hobbies and you listen to your heart and you listen to that inner voice. Don't ignore it because it really does lead you to a better thing in life, to better things in life, to fulfillment. And keep it simple. Take one day at a time. And once again, you don't have to know everything all at once. Okay? You really, really don't. And just that feeling sometimes when you just realize just how strong you are. Believe it. Believe it. There's so much inner strength inside of you. All right, to be able to have survived what you have, to be able to, go about your daily life. It's not easy. Life is not easy. But if you take care of yourself, okay, get 1% better today. Yes, exactly. Just that 1% is all that matters. Um, and then you'll be able to then have those days where you're just like, oh my gosh, life is amazing. Life is beautiful. And those days will multiply. You will have more better days than bad days. Okay? So, for those of you who are feeling down, I want you to remember you are loved, you are valued, you matter. For those of you, who's doing pretty okay, keep going. And if you do, start feeling down, know that it's temporarily and it will go away. Um, Getting to know yourself once again is getting in touch with your body and learning your emotions and accepting them and learning your feelings. There's also many resources where you could look up where every emotion lives in your body. So, like sometimes in our chest, it's anxiety, okay? In our throat, it could be fear of speaking up or, being controlled and etc. So, definitely look into that and work on it, okay? Thank you, thank you. I'm definitely wrapping up. Um, so just having, keeping this in mind and going forward in life is is so important. Okay, super super important. All right, I think that is all. I think that's all I had to say. Let me know if this had resonated with you guys. Thank you all so much for your comments, for your likes, for your love, and I will see you next time. Bye.